everyone. Today I'm gonna tell you the news for today. First, about the coronavirus, I'm gonna show you a video how it's infecting people. Thank you. Thank you. Это было о коронавирусе. А теперь я другое видео вам покажу.
People are talking about July, August, something like that. So it could be right in that period of time where I say it washes through. Other people don't like that term, but where it washes through. Well, there are some places in our nation that are not very affected at all. But we may look at certain areas, certain hotspots, as they call them. We'll be looking at that, but at this moment, no, we're not. I think there's a tremendous pent-up demand, both in terms of the stock market and in terms of the economy. And once this goes away, once it goes through and we're done with it, I think you're going to see a tremendous surge. I'd rate it a 10. I think we've done a great job.
This is AP News Minute. The U.S. stock market plunged 12% Monday, its worst day in more than 3 decades. Losses were steep, accelerating in the last half hour of trading after President Donald Trump said the economy may be headed for a recession. Markets in Asia and Europe were down too. Millions of Americans began their work week holed up at home Monday against the coronavirus outside their doors. The escalating outbreak shifted the nation's daily routines in ways never before seen in U.S. history. The European Union's top official on Monday proposed a 30-day ban on anyone entering the bloc unless their travel is essential. The European Commission president wants travel restrictions to slow the spread of the coronavirus. And a conservation center in central Bulgaria has welcomed a rare baby bearded vulture. The species is thought to be extinct in the Balkan nation. The newborn raises hopes for one day reintroducing the birds of prey into the wild. Ritu Shukla, The Associated Press, with AP News Minute.
It's important for the young and healthy people to understand that while they may experience milder symptoms, they can easily spread this virus, and they will spread it indeed, putting countless others in harm's way. We especially worry about our senior citizens. Therefore, my administration is recommending that all Americans, including the young and healthy, work to engage in schooling from home when possible, avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people, avoid discretionary travel, and avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts. If everyone makes this change or these critical changes and sacrifices now, we will rally together as one nation, and we will defeat the virus and We're going to have a big celebration all together. With several weeks of focused action, we can turn the corner and turn it quickly. A lot of progress has been made.
Mr. President, a lot of people are concerned about how long all of this might last. Do you have any kind of estimate that if Americans really were to band together and do what the White House is suggesting, how quickly you could turn this corner?
My favorite question, I ask it all the time. How many times, Anthony? I think I ask him that question every day, and I speak to Deborah, I speak to a lot of them. I get the opinion. So it seems to me that if we do a really good job, we'll not only hold the death down to a level that is much lower than the other way, had we not done a good job. But people are talking about July, August, something like that. So it could be right in that period of time where it washes through. Other people don't like that term, but where it washes through.
So is this the new normal until the height of the summer?
We'll see what happens, but they think August, could be July, could be longer than that. But I've asked that question many, many times, yes.
Donald Trump said that we're closing beaches, we're closing schools. Okay, next. Trump releases guidelines to slow coronavirus spread in 15 days, but warns crisis could stretch summer. White House task force issues new guidelines to stop virus spread. The U.S. government is failing catastrophically at its most basic function. White House no national curfew being discussed. Top news. And also I'm going to show you a video about San Francisco by area countries issue shelter in a place where the coronavirus is in 7 San Francisco area counties ordered to shelter in a place. I'm going to show you a video. Okay? Thank you.
I'm glad to see that you're practicing social distancing. That looks very nice. Looks very good. I want to thank everybody for being here today. This morning I spoke with the leaders of the G7 nations, and they really had a good meeting. I think it was a very, very productive meeting. I also spoke with our nation's governors. And this afternoon, we're announcing new guidelines for every American to follow over the next 15 days as we combat the virus. Each and every one of us has a critical role to play in stopping the spread and transmission of the virus. We did this today. This was done by a lot of very talented people, some of whom are standing with me, and that's available. And Dr. Birx will be speaking about that in just a few minutes. It's important for the young and healthy people to understand that while they may experience milder symptoms, they can easily spread this virus, and they will spread it indeed, putting countless others in harm's way. We especially worry about our senior citizens. The White House Task Force meets every day and continually updates guidelines based on the fast evolving situation that this has become all over the world. It's all over the world. It's incredible what's happened in such a short period of time. On the guidelines of the task force, the new modeling conducted by Dr. Birx, and our consultation with governors, we've made the decision to further toughen the guidelines and blunt the infection now. We'd much rather be ahead of the curve than behind it, and that's what we are. Therefore, my administration is recommending that all Americans, including the young and healthy, work to engage in schooling from home when possible. Avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people. Avoid discretionary travel. And avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts. If everyone makes this change or these critical changes and sacrifices now, we will rally together as one nation and we will defeat the virus, and we're going to have a big celebration all together. With several weeks of focused action, we can turn the corner and turn it quickly. A lot of progress has been made. I'm also pleased to report today that a vaccine candidate has begun the phase 1 clinical trial. This is one of the fastest vaccine development launches in history. Not even close. We're also racing to develop antiviral therapies and other treatments, and we've had some promising results, early results, but promising, to reduce the severity and the duration of the symptoms. And I have to say that our government is prepared to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, we're doing. Thank you. So I'm glad to see that you're practicing social distancing. That looks very nice. Looks very good. I want to thank everybody for being here today. This morning I spoke with the leaders of the G7 nations. And
Thank you. Now, coronavirus lockdown. France orders people to stay at home for 15 days due pandemic. I rushed home from Paris to beat Trump's travel curbs. But first, I listened to President Macron. I'm going to show you the video. Thank you.
The number of coronavirus cases in the United States has officially topped 3,700 with 69 deaths. As government officials close schools and mandate closures of bars and restaurants, the Centers for Disease Control is recommending the cancellation of all in-person events of 50 or more people for the next 2 months. That means everything from sporting events and festivals to weddings and beyond. Joining us right now is Dr. Scott Gottlieb. He is the former FDA commissioner. He's also a CNBC contributor, and he serves on the boards of both Illumina and Pfizer. Scott, you've been kind of guiding us through this almost every day. Where do you think we stand right now?
Well, I think right now, we're about 6 weeks. We're about 2 weeks into the process where between when China first identified community spread and then you had the lockdown of Wuhan. I think the difference for us is that we identified our community spread much earlier than China, and I think we're starting to take mitigation steps much sooner than they did. China did just about everything wrong during those 6 weeks. I think we're doing a lot of things right currently, notwithstanding the challenges we had getting the diagnostic tests deployed, which will be fully deployed, I think, this week. I think by the end of the week, there's going to be much more diagnostic screening. I think the steps that the governors are taking right now, which are very aggressive, are going to absolutely impact the trajectory of this epidemic. I think we need to continue to do that. We need to have a difficult March so that when we get into April, this peaks out at some point in April. And if you talk to some of the folks who are modeling this, there is a sense that this is likely to peak sometime in mid to late April, and heading into May we'll be coming down the epidemic curve. And the goal right now is to keep the infection rate as low as possible at any one point in time so we don't exhaust the healthcare system, so we don't start having more deaths as a result of the coronavirus. I
think we need to emphasize what you just said. You expect this to peak in late April to mid-May. I mean, that's longer than probably a lot of people in the American public are expecting at this point. Lots of us are being told our schools are closed for 2 weeks. That doesn't sound like a realistic goal if what you're saying is right.
Well, I think the schools are going to end up closing for longer periods of time. I think they're announcing 2 weeks at a time, and they'll reevaluate the situation. In certain districts where there might not be community spread or evidence of community transmission, schools might make a decision to restart, although I think it's unlikely. But that's a good case scenario. This is going to be a 6 to 10 week process, and I think if we can get through this in 6 to 8 weeks and keep the peak of the epidemic below the point at which the healthcare system gets exhausted. If you look at what happened in South Korea, Italy, China, that was about the length of time that it took the epidemics to run their course. South Korea is much more successful at keeping the peak number of infections down. Italy is obviously losing control of their infections right now and of their epidemic. And I think what we need to do is focus on how do we blunt the impact of the mitigation steps that we need to take to try to reduce the community transmission, things like closing schools, closing restaurants, closing bars, places where people go. So you basically slow down activity and people self-quarantine because they have no place to go.
It's business as usual for the moment, but of course we are talking about 12 midnight Eastern time tonight, local time here in London, 4 a.m. Tuesday, and then that's it for transatlantic travel pretty much. In fact, in the other direction, the UK government has said all but essential travel to the US should not be carried out anywhere as well. I mean, just behind me, travelling out of Terminal 2 at Heathrow, you've got United Airlines, you've got American Airlines, you've got Delta, and they've all come up with some pretty drastic cuts in the last hours. Delta cutting 40% of flights, grounding 300 planes. You've got American Airlines cutting 75% of international flights. United are cutting 50% of flights for the next 2 months. They've already, in March, carried 1 million passengers less in the first 2 weeks than they would normally carry as well. And quite frankly, it's a bloodbath on the airline industry as well. IATA, which is the global airline travel group as well, reckons already it's $113 billion of lost revenues for the airline industry this year, and that's, I think, maybe a figure that's even out of date already. Heathrow, as you all know, is one of the biggest airports in the world. It is the second biggest international airport in the world. Normally carries about 80.8 million passengers, but we had a clue in their February numbers about how bad things can go. February passenger traffic was down around about 5%, but the APAC travel, i.e. Asia Pacific, that was down 30%, and I guess now, when we see the March figures, it's going to be far more devastating kind of numbers than that as well. In terms of what the airlines are saying, well, British Airways, the biggest carrier, of course, here in the UK, biggest carrier out of Heathrow. They pretty much dominate one of the terminals here, Terminal 5, as I'm sure many of our international audience realise. They have said this is an existential crisis. They will be grounding flights like never before. Another one of the big transatlantic carriers, Virgin Atlantic, the CEO, Shay Weiss, has been talking about the need for governments to get involved, and this could be very contentious over the medium term. Short term, of course, it's about keeping these carriers alive. Shay Weiss, CEO of Virgin, saying, look, for the British airline industry, they need £7.5 billion worth of support straight away. That is trying to keep these flag carriers going. And we've just heard from Ryan Air's Michael O'Leary. He's kind of like the southwest of Europe as well. Listen to this. They've just come out and said for April and May, they will cut, Becky, 80% of their capacity. That's an 80% capacity straight away for April and May.
Well, if we do what we're supposed to do, we really should look more like China, and hopefully even one of the countries that are doing a little bit better than China. Basically, what your viewer is pretty savvy, so they're used to watching graphs, and they see this flattening the curve graph, and I don't know if they really understand what we're trying to do here. So if you look at a curve on a graph, you're going to see a spike, and then you see a line that actually goes kind of flat. And basically what social distancing is trying to do is to decrease the amount of people infected at one time under the curve. So bear with me here, understand. What's going to happen is, if you had 150,000 people, that's the spike that would be infected. That's the spike. What we're trying to do is, instead of having 150,000 people sick at one time, which would overburden the medical system, we'd rather have 10 people sick, or 10,000 people sick rather, over a longer amount of time. So 15 days. Making sense? So we don't overburden the system that is already overburdened. So it's the same amount of area under that curve, whether it's flat or it's spiked, still 150,000 people, but we want them to be very stratified as opposed to at one time. And that's what social distancing does. Social distancing makes it so that everybody will be exposed, who will get exposed over a longer period of time as opposed to one moment in time. And so that makes the system able to handle that capacity. We know public health is a four-legged stool. Basically, it's public outcry, it's politics, it's economics, and then it's science. Most of the time, those top three rule the day, and science is probably at the bottom because people get very upset and they get nervous and they get panicked, which, just to let you know, increasing panic increases cortisol, which is a steroid, which also makes your immune system worse. So the more you panic, the more you're apt to get the disease. But we want science to rule the day. And what we know is when we look under those curves, science will state, because of the infectivity of this virus, that the amount of people will be decreased if we quarantine, if we keep people from having big social gatherings. And that's what we need to be doing.
Okay, congressional leaders work on third coronavirus relief with major economic stimulus. Rep. Louis Gohmert delays House coronavirus relief bill moving to Senate. Mitt Romney's coronavirus economic plan, $1,000 to each U.S. adult. Romney process giving $1,000 to every American adult as coronavirus response measure. U.S. Health Agency was under cyber attacking during its response to coronavirus. States waive mandated standardized test. SAT cancels May exam and April Act is rescheduled. Scholastic is offering free online courses so your kids can keep learning while schools are closed. Florida health officials announced 19 new COVID-19 cases. Do not provide case-specific info. Florida Governor urges Trump to restrict domestic travel. USWNT Invisible Crest Protects become a hit t-shirt, an example of players' revenue potential. Also in United States, Kuma calls for construction of field hospitals to combat coronavirus crisis. Coronavirus outbreak spreads New York, New Jersey connected to shut bars, restaurants, and movie theaters. Coronavirus gun sales are surging across U.S. It's not just toilet paper. People line up to buy guns, ammo over coronavirus corners. Before Trump's inauguration, a warning: the worst influenza pandemic since 1918. USAID had to resign amid coronavirus pandemic. USAID administrator announces departure amid coronavirus pandemic. The hell? Spain becomes fourth most coronavirus infected nation. Sizes all provide health care. Italy, France, and Spain report more coronavirus deaths. Pompeo condemns China effort to shift coronavirus blame on U.S. call with Communist Party official. Pompeo warns China against spreading outlandish rumors about coronavirus. The Hill. Italian coronavirus victims face death alone with funerals post-pandemic. 6 priests in one Italia town die of coronavirus. Stay home. Stay home. Justin Trudeau closes Canada's borders over coronavirus. In Aventura, man robs Wells Fargo Bank in Aventura, FBI says. Hollywood Beach and its popular boardwalk shut down over coronavirus concerns. City leaders in Hallandale Beach, local restaurants struggling amid coronavirus concerns. Bar mayor issues public health alert. Isolates after Rabbi test positive for COVID-19. Also in businesses, Dow futures jump 2,000 points after Wall Street suffers worst day since 1987 market crash. What will a 0% interest rate mean for mortgages? Federal Reserve cuts interest rates to ease coronavirus panic. Amazon to hire thousands warehouse and delivery workers amid coronavirus shutdowns. McDonald's to shut seating play areas to COVID-19. McDonald's asks U.S. franchises to close dining rooms amid coronavirus outbreak. And also in technology, Planet Fitness to offer free at-home workout classes via live stream. Microsoft reveals details about its next generation console, Xbox Series X. What to do if you need a return or pickup at the Apple Store during the COVID-19 outbreak. Apple explains how to return and repair will works while its retail stores are closed. The best and IFFW coronavirus apps to keep informed. Apple, Google, Amazon block non-official coronavirus apps from app stores. In entertainment, actor Idris Elba tests positive for coronavirus. NBC Universal breaks theatrical window, will make movies available on demand immediately. Tom Hanks and Rashida Wills are out of the hospital and eating vegetables after coronavirus treatment. Regal Cinemas closing all theaters starting tomorrow until further notice. Coronavirus. Movie crowds stay away. Theaters hope it's not for good. Byron Jones' deal with Dolphins make him NFL's highest paid cornerback, breaking Dolphins to make Brian Jones highest paid CB. Colin Cowherd understands why the Texans DeAndre Hopkins will be fined at NFL The Herd. Colts acquire Buckners from 49ers for no 13th pick. Sources cost trade first-round pick for 49ers DT DeForest Buckner. Steel's rival makes moves as NFL free agency heats up. In science, NASA chief Jurgis space agency and pleased to work from home amid coronavirus outbreak. The $400 billion space industry is bracing from coronavirus as 2 NASA employees test positive. SpaceX aborts Falcon 9 launch with rare liftoff disregard sequence. Scientists have discovered the organs of the building blocks of life. NASA warns of airburst causing asteroids arriving this week. Asteroids causes atmosphere explosion if it gets too close. Coronavirus spreads quickly and sometimes before people have symptoms, study finds. Some states have seen a phenomenal increase in coronavirus tests, but U.S. still lags far behind. World Health Organization says something nations aren't running enough coronavirus tests. Test every suspected case. U.S. starts clinical trial of COVID-19 vaccine that will last into next year. Government officially coronavirus vaccine trial starts Monday. Coronavirus L.A. country reports largest single day spike with 25 new cases. L.A. country closes bars and entry Venice's limits restaurant service as COVID-19 cases rise to 94. Thank you for watching Bekhruz News. See you tomorrow. Bye.